I'm Sarah Fielke, online instructor for craftsy.com. In this little promo, I'm going to show you a little bit about my favourite thing about quilting, which is hand quilting. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there who the thought of hand quilting is just absolutely terrifying, but I'm here to tell you I'm converting the world one hand quilter at a time. And my method of hand quilting is much quicker than a traditional Amish hand quilting method. I use a thicker thread. It's much faster to do, but quite apart from being fast, it's incredibly therapeutic, and it gives you quilts a really, really beautiful look and feel to them, and a definition that I just don't think that you get from machine quilting. And that might just be my opinion, but anyway, so I'm just going to show you a few of the little quilts that are actually in our Craftsy class that I've hand quilted. I hand quilt nearly everything. These little stitches here, you can see this definition here, they're all done by hand. And I just think it gives the quilts a softness and a graphic energy that you really don't get from an all-over machine quilting pattern. And that is the main reason that I like hand quilting. Frequently when I send my quilts away to be machine quilted, my machine quilter wins awards, she's absolutely fantastic, but I'm always sad when they come back. I look at them and think, gee, I wish I hand quilted that. So I really hope you all just give it a little go. You might need to watch this promo a lot of times before you get it right. I have been hand quilting for over 20 years, so please don't look at this and be, disappointed. You just need to keep practicing and keep practicing, and by the time you've hand quilted, say, a small cot quilt, you'll be cooking with gas and it'll all be fine. So what you need before you start, you need a quilting hoop, which is not an embroidery hoop. Don't go to your local craft shop and buy one of those little thin things. You need a good thick embroidery hoop, quilting hoop, so that it holds the layers together with enough force, and also over time those little embroidery hoops will just crack. They won't take the weight of your quilt. You will also need some perle cotton. This is what I quilt with. Traditional Amish quilting is done with a waxed cotton, and you take very tiny little stitches with a very short needle. I use a much thicker thread, it shows up much more. You can take larger stitches and use a bigger needle, which is why I like it. Comes in a lot of different colours. This is a DMC thread, and I also really, really like using a Presentia thread, which is available from Fielke. So that's that one. This is the thimble that I like. This is a clover open-sided thimble. You wear it on the front of your finger with the open side to the back. It stops your finger from sweating, and it has all these little dimples in the front that holds the needle for you, and if you get stuck on a really hard part between seams, you have this little shelf here that'll help you push the needle through. These are the needles I like using. This is a John James Pebble. They're crewel embroidery needles, and they come in a pack usually size 10 to 12, and I use all the different sizes that are in the pack. I also really like the DMC needles, they're very nice. You do need to buy a good quality needle for hand quilting. If you buy a really cheap, thin one, it will just snap. It won't take the weight of the force of the quilting. So you do need to, needles are not expensive, but you do need to invest in a good sort of $4, $5 packet of needles to get some that will really take the weight. And the last thing that you need is a little pair of nice sharp embroidery scissors to clip your threads off when you finish quilting. If you use big scissors, you can sometimes clip the top of your quilt, and that is a really sad, sad thing to have happen. So we're going to learn just a few basic stitches and how to start and end your threads. Cut a piece of thread that's not too long. You don't want to be taking a stitch like this. And also, if you have a really big long thread, sometimes these pearls get a bit fuzzy, so not too long. And you want to tie just a one loop knot, like a really basic one loop granny knot. Don't roll it off your finger or do anything fancy. It will be too thick to go through the fabric if you do that. So just a one loop knot. Always make sure that you sit nice and straight when you're quilting. Sit at a table and balance the hoop on the table, or sit on the couch and put a cushion underneath you or something like that. It's almost like breastfeeding. You want to make sure that you're sitting right and you have your shoulders nice and straight so that you don't hurt yourself and get shoulder pain and back pain. And you always quilt towards yourself, so we're not going to quilt sideways. As soon as you go sideways, you put your shoulder up and you'll be in all sorts of pain. So we're going to quilt towards us, sitting nice and straight. So I have my hand at the back of the quilt, and you can probably see it bouncing up and down there. I'm going to put the needle in between the two layers of fabric into the batting or the wadding, and just slide it through so I can feel with my hand at the back that actually hasn't come out, and the knot is going to pop through. Pull the knot all the way to the end and give it a little sharp tug, and it's just going to pop through and lodge in the wadding there and not come out. Once we've done that, we're ready to quilt. So my stitches, I take quite small stitches. You can take up to 1/4 inch long stitch, that's absolutely fine. There's no problem with making them that big, and it'll be much quicker for you when you're starting to be able to take them that large. It's more about them being even than anything else, so concentrate on trying to get them even rather than trying to get them small. So you go into the fabric the length of the stitch that you want it to be. My finger is right underneath that needle at the back, and the needle's actually balancing in between the tip of my finger and the thimble, and it can just stand straight there. I have calluses on my fingers at the back. If you find that you're getting sore fingers, you can wear a little stick-on thimble at the back called a thimblet, or I think there's a few different brands of them. Don't wear a big thimble at the back because you need to be able to feel how much that needle's come through, because that's actually the size of the stitch on the back. So don't wear a big thimble at the back. So that's balancing on my finger at the back. I'm going to rock the needle down flat, push my finger up in the back and my thumb down in the front, and push the needle through the heel. Straight down into the fabric at a 90-degree angle, rock the needle flat, push my finger up in the back and my thumb down in the front, and push the needle through the heel. You will probably almost immediately find that this happens, that you get this great big gap here. That's because you can see as I turned the needle, I pushed it. So you're not going to push it anywhere until you have your little heel. So stand it up straight, rock it down flat, make the heel, push through the heel. When you're sitting at home hand stitching, hear my voice in your head please, saying thumb down in front, because that's what's making your heel. As you get a little bit better, you're going to be able to take a couple of stitches at a time. When you're ready to sign off, you're going to bring your underneath hand to the top of the quilt, hold the thread out to the side, and take the needle underneath that thread and keep holding onto it, and pull the top thread until that knot is right down on the quilt top. You're going to put your finger on the top and pull so that the knot's tied right down low, close to the quilt top. Put your hand at the back again to make sure that that thread's not coming out, the needle's not coming out. And you can go back down the hole that that thread is coming out of, slide through the batting again, a little way away. Just give that a tug and the thread will disappear, and then you can use your little snippy scissors there to just clip that off. So that is how to hand quilt. I really, really hope you all try it, and if you do and you're converted to hand quilting, or maybe even you just quilt one quilt, please let me know, because I love knowing that I've maybe inspired somebody to hand quilt. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Sarah Fielke. If you enjoyed this, make sure and check out my class, Big Techniques from Small Scraps, on craftsy.com.